What up, good people? It's me, Shelby, here to do a response video to a person who has a YouTube page called The World According to Briggs. He made a video about Milwaukee. He's basically trashing Milwaukee, and he was pitting the city against the state. That was something that I just noticed that he was doing, which makes absolutely no sense. He was very biased. So I got to combat him because what he was saying was just unnecessary, and it was just stupid and foolish to me. Why he was pitting Milwaukee against the rest of the state, I don't know. But the video was titled "The Top 10 Reasons Not to Move to Milwaukee," and the reasons he gave were just drenched in bias, and it wasn't making any kind of sense. And a lot of it was just false with elements of truth, but then his explanations of it would be rooted in just dumb rhetoric and nothing factual. So I'm going to combat him. I don't even know if he's going to see this video, but still, I'm just going to talk about Milwaukee. I'm going to talk about the good and the bad. Be very objective, and I'm not going to have a mentality of trying to pit my state against my city. That's stupid, because at the end of the day, we're Wisconsinites, and what he was saying was just false, very false. I mean, it was just silly, stupid. And I noticed in his comment section, people were kind of getting on him about things he was saying about Milwaukee. So I'm gonna tell you about Milwaukee since I'm from the city. I left the city, went to New York, but I came back because I love Milwaukee. I do. And so I'm gonna talk about the good and the bad. And I'm gonna start with the bad, because when I say bad, I mean bad stuff like, Milwaukee's a major city in America, okay? And major cities in America have problems, okay? They have problems because there's a lot of people that live in the city. You have a lot of people that live in the metro area, and with that comes problems. Politically, economically, you name it, okay? So that's something Briggs is not getting, okay? So, for example, he brought up the school system. Okay, so the school system, Milwaukee has those problems. He's right. But what he was saying was not dreaded in truth. Okay, so Milwaukee, like every other major city, whether it's Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, LA, New York, Chicago, St. Louis, San Diego, these major cities have issues, public school system issues. Okay, there's a lot of students in the city, a lot of people go to these schools, and there's politics that's played. There's something that he doesn't get. Okay, our governor, prior governor, Scott Walker, and you got the new governor, Tony Evers. So I don't know, but Milwaukee public school system always seems to be going through this. It's a system with a bunch of schools, and they have to divvy up these resources, and they're not divvied up correctly, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and superintendents, and just a lot of politics with that. Okay, so that is why Milwaukee has issues with its public school system. When you compare it to a city like, some other school outside of Milwaukee, they don't have those issues because you're not dealing with a bunch of schools, okay, that you have that budget for, and politics get played, and it affects the students. And so this is not something that is unique to Milwaukee. He needs to look at DC. He needs to look at New York. He needs to look at LA. He needs to look at Seattle, Minneapolis. They got these problems. Okay, and so for you to sit there and be like, well, don't go to Milwaukee and not move there because of the school system there, okay, and the reasons you gave was just stupid, dude, stupid and unnecessary. Okay, and then you talk about the dating scene, which is the stuff you were saying. Just what are you talking about? Really, like, what I'm saying? Like, you are not making any kind of sense whatsoever. Milwaukee has 6 million people and about 1.5 million, almost 2 million people in the metro area. People are out there dating. Okay, so I don't even know where you were going with that. Not to move to Milwaukee because of the dating scene sucks or something to you. I don't know. Maybe you can't get a date or something. You had some experience with a person that, I don't know what you were talking about. Okay, with that. But just a lot of stupid stuff you were saying. But I would say this about Milwaukee, the real bad stuff, okay, that I am critical of the city of, okay? There is crime here. There's a lot of crime here, okay, in the city of Milwaukee, but it's in pocket areas. Not the whole city's not like that. You have certain pockets. You have some elements of that in certain pockets on the north side. You have certain pockets of that on the south side, just pockets. Not the entire north side, not the entire South Side, not the entire West Side, and not the entire East Side, just certain pockets of it where there are these hotspots. My sister works for the Milwaukee Police Department. She's a sergeant, okay, and so she tells me these things. So you're just wrong, okay? You just don't know what you're talking about. Wherever you're from in Wisconsin, you need to stay there and go live in the rock you're under, man. I don't know if you're from Rylander or somewhere in the rural areas of Wisconsin, but you need to, just stay in your little rotted area, man, because you don't know what you're talking about, okay? And but there's pockets of that. But again, these are major city issues, nothing unique to Milwaukee. Okay, Milwaukee, Chicago, whatever, Detroit, Charlotte, North Carolina, these cities have issues. Memphis, New Orleans, Miami, Dallas, Austin. You're not making any sense, dude, Mr. Briggs. Okay, so, but I would agree that Milwaukee needs to address those issues, the issues of poverty and things of those nature. But I will say this about Milwaukee: what is unique to Milwaukee, and a bad thing that is unique, is Milwaukee has a bad rep for being segregationist, being a segregationist type city. It's very split up between where white people live, where the black people live, where Latinos are, and so. But I believe that is not the fault of the city itself, as opposed to institutional things that are set up in place. Okay, Milwaukee to me is racially biased, institutional wise. Okay, so institutional systemic racism hurts this city. Okay, so I would admit to that. Okay, and that is why you see the struggles with African Americans here. They don't like being here because of those things, because of the poverty and the unemployment rate that is affecting them due to those systematic things that are in place. The institutional racism, systemic racism, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to schools, when it comes to housing and things of that nature. There's racial bias there that is plaguing the city. So I would say that's unique to Milwaukee. But do I believe that white people, the individuals, are racist toward black people? No. It's just a system that's set in place that needs to change. And so, I think Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin need to address that, because that's just not just a Milwaukee thing. That the state, the county, and the city had to address that, or people are gonna leave. African Americans are gonna leave, and it's gonna hurt the city if your black population leaves, because that makes up half your city. So those type of things hurt Milwaukee, and that is the main thing, the heartbeat issue, is that. So that's the bad part. Now I'm gonna get into the good part, which outweighs that bad part. Okay, I'm gonna do what he was saying about the city was false, but I would say this: Milwaukee is fun as hell. It was in Vogue magazine as one of the most fun cities in the Midwest. Okay, it's an underrated city in the Midwest. And not just Vogue magazine said that. I was living out in New York. It was in the New York magazine. Came to Milwaukee. I love the city. Underrated. Didn't know. Because Chicago overshadows the city so much that they were heavily impressed with Milwaukee. Third Ward, the East Side, the North Side, the South Side, the beautiful suburbs that Milwaukee has. Okay, so those are the things that this dude don't, and those things are true what those magazines were saying, because I live here and I see it. Milwaukee has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of redevelopment happening. Milwaukee is economically the driver of the state. Okay, so much going on. It's a lot of fun things to do in the city. There's a great bar scene here. There's not a city in America that can touch Milwaukee's bar scene. Not one city that can touch Milwaukee's bar scene. Okay, interesting breweries here. Okay, you got a lot of stuff going on every single weekend, and especially in the summer, when it comes to our ethnic festivals and just festivals in general. Milwaukee has a lot of stuff to do. One of the best museums in the country, the Milwaukee Public Museums. One of the best zoos in the country. One of the best art museums. This Mr. Briggs does not know what he's talking about. A top 10 beach in Bradford Beach. Okay, it's a top 10 beach. You just don't. So that's the thing that he's not getting. Okay, now let me tell you Milwaukee's impact on the state. Mr. Briggs, if Milwaukee's not in Wisconsin, Wisconsin folds. Okay, Milwaukee is the economic engine of this state. Period. If Milwaukee wasn't here, Milwaukee would be Iowa. If Milwaukee wasn't in Wisconsin, Milwaukee would be North Dakota. Okay, period. You need Milwaukee here. Milwaukee is, look at the Bucks, look at the Brewers, all doing well, all successful, making an impact, even more, bringing more money and recognition and attention to Milwaukee. Okay, and people like Milwaukee. When they come here and travel to Milwaukee, they like it. I have a friend from Toronto I brought here a few years ago. She was surprised. She thought Milwaukee was a small, rural, whatever, but it was an actual city to her. She loved it. I took her to the zoo. I showed her around the city. Very impressed. Very impressed with the city. And she's not the only one. There's a lot of people coming in now. Milwaukee's getting a lot of attention because of the sports teams. The Democratic National Convention's coming here, getting attention. So people are paying attention. Those magazines, other people have come to Milwaukee. The Travel Channel came to Milwaukee. Loved it. Loved it, loved it. The Third Ward area, unique. It reminds me of Soho, New York. That whole area is great. So to me, Milwaukee is just an awesome city. Yes, it has its problems. That it does. But overall, Milwaukee is a very, very, very great city. It's clean. It's got a lot going on, a lot of redevelopment. It's just a cool city. I don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. You live in Wisconsin somewhere and you have not been down here. Because if you've been down here and you kicked it down here and had a good time and went out down in Milwaukee, you would not have said those things. Okay, you're just trying to pit the state against the city, which is the dumbest thing to do, because without Milwaukee, Wisconsin is practically nothing. Nothing. And I love Wisconsin. I love where I'm from. I love my city. I'm a Midwest boy to the T. Okay, I'm a Great Lakes dude. But what you were saying is so stupid. It's very divisive and it's unnecessary. Okay, Milwaukee is an awesome city, period. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I can go out tonight. I can go out on a Monday night, go to a bar, have a good time. The sports scene here is great. The Milwaukee Bucks are doing excellent. The Brewers are doing excellent, and they're having an impact on this city and unifying the city. And not just unifying the city, but they're bringing a lot of attention to Milwaukee, economic wise. Okay, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're lost, bro. Okay, that top 10 list you made need to be thrown in the trash can. Period. You shouldn't even be in the state talking like that. Peace.